Hey, this your girl, msyelladiva. I am bringing you another episode of Dexter Resurrection, okay? And it's season 1, is episode 6, Cat and Mouse, okay? So, if you are new here, welcome. We do reviews here, darling, okay? And if you're returning, welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. All right now. Give me a thumbs up. Like, and like again. like, and share and subscribe. And comment to my channel. And we will begin. Okay. All right. So, Dexter is sweeping the stairs. He said it's something, magical about sweeping. I don't know. Okay, I don't like cleaning, period. Okay, but you have to do it. So yeah, I don't know what is magical about sweeping, but he talking to himself, talking about, it's just something, tranquil about sweeping, just the sound of it, whatever. So Blessing comes to him and tells him that, his mama Prudence passed away this morning, and so he was just like, okay, so they doing a wake for her today, and so so he invited her he invited him to this wake, okay. So Dexter calls Harrison, and Dexter was like, "Is a hoodie a funeral attire?" And Harrison was like, "No, Dad." Okay. He said, "Well, it's black." Why he wearing this black hoodie with the little camera shot tape on it and everything? No, Dexter. That's not it, boo. So Harrison brings him over a suit. Apparently, they leave suits and everything else in hotels. So he brings him over a suit, and then he brings him a suit too. And so he was like, "You going with me?" He was like, "Yeah." He said, funerals are hard. And so they over there tying ties and stuff like that, looking like father and son. It was so sweet. It was like, that sweet baby. Okay. And so then Dexter was like, "Your mama will be so proud." And yeah, she would have been so proud at that moment. And then also, they have all the Morgan men lined up. So we got Harry, then we got Dexter, then we got Harrison. It was a wonderful picture. So they go to upstairs. That's where the wake is. And so um um Harrison said, "Well, I'm glad, you're back in my life." He said, "Because losing you for the second time was rough." And then Dexter was like, "I'm not going anywhere, so don't even worry about it. I'm not going anywhere." So they go upstairs. And so Dexter was like, "Listen, this is a big family. It's a close-knit family." He said, "So expect, a lot of sadness, a lot of crying." So they go in, they having a party, okay? They having a party, okay? And so Harrison was like, "Yeah, that's real sad, Dad." It's real sad. And so Dexter walks in, everybody was like, "Hey, Dexter," and everything. And so Harrison was like, "I have been living in New York for 3 months, and I only know 3 people." He said, "How you know all these people?" He said, "How long you been here? He said about 3 weeks. He was like, I've been living there, New York for 3 months, and I only know 3 people. And how you know all these people? Well, Mr. Blessing, okay, Mr. Blessing. He know because Mr. Blessing taught him everything he know. Plus, he gave him an apartment, okay. And how come you not staying at this apartment? You don't have no place to stay. How come you ain't staying at this apartment, Harrison? He got a couch, okay? He got a couch, or he can't do his business, you know, at the apartment. But you still staying at the hotel? Where are you staying, Harrison? I digress. Okay, I digress. I'm worried. I don't want Harrison on the street. So Joy comes. Blessing's daughter comes and gives Dexter a hug, and she said, "How's that gunshot wound?" And so Harrison looked like, she know about the gunshot wound. She know she know I shot you. And she was like, and she was like, oh, she said, I know all about that hunting accident. And so he know that it was a hunting accident, and she know that he ain't shoot him. Okay. And so she was like, I'm trying to, do acupuncture to help your dad's pain. And so Dexter was like, it's really helping. And so Harrison was like, you doing alternative medicine? Oh, I don't know about you, Daddy. And you done changed basically since the last time I saw you. Anyway, and so they got a casket and the body in the living room. Do they do that shit anymore? Comment below. Do your family do that? Where you got the casket and the body like in the front room and stuff? Don't you go to the funeral home for that? Comment below. Tell me. If there's people that actually do that. Cause I listen. I know they did that back in the day, but that's when they ain't have a lot of funeral homes. Cause I'm like back in the 70s and the 60s and stuff. But I was just like, I ain't never visited a body in a home. In a home, okay. Now I'm visiting in the funeral home, okay. But I ain't never visited into somebody's house, okay. But they got that casket and that body in the front room, and just having it open, chilling, like. Let me know if y'all your family do it, or you've been to somebody's home or whatever. I've never never counted. I'm not saying it ain't wrong. It's wrong, because what it was good for one person is good, not good for it's not good for me. Okay. But if it's good for you, it's good for you. But yeah, let me know, because I didn't think people did that anymore. Anyway, so while they're at the wake, Charlie decides to visit Red apartment, and so she see that there's the mail hasn't been picked up. Nobody picked up the mail, and then she busts in and see that it's like moldy food left out and things like that, and so she was like, "Ain't nobody been here," so. She calls Leon and said, Red is MIA. So Joy and Sam, that's Joy's husband, is talking to Harrison in the kitchen, talking about, today talking about how they're going to I don't know, they're doing higher education. And so Harrison was like, listen, I just got my GED, and we're going to figure out what we're going to do with that with that GED. I don't know what I want to do yet. And so Joy was like, listen, Take it slow. She said, because adulting, she said, is the worst. And I agree. Adulting is the worst. Okay, I agree. I agree. I agree. It is not for the weak. Okay, it's not for the weak. Okay. So, um, Blessing's wife, I forgot her name, but she gets everybody's attention. She said, Prudence had a a fascination with cats, but Blessing is allergic to cats, so she couldn't get a cat, but she got like all these porcelain, figurine cats and whatever. So she wants everybody to take one home with them, so she don't have to deal with these cats no more. So she want everybody to take one home with them, and that way she'll know, that they go to a better home, and they have like a memory of Prudence. Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah, because she was like, either that or I'm quite sure they'd be going to the Goodwill or Salvation Army, because she did have a lot of cats around the house. And, apparently Blessing's wife don't like cats or cat figurines. So Dexter takes his porcelain uh, cat figurine, and he go up there and say, and all he can say was, "I'm gonna miss Prudence food." I mean, that's basically all he can say. I mean, he ain't know. I mean, he didn't know her that well to have like a decent memory. All he did was eat her food, and so I don't blame him. I think I would have said the same thing, because you ain't really had no real memory of him. You ain't grow up with her or nothing. Anyway, so Leon calls Dexter. He had to leave the little wake and go outside, and he called Dexter. And he said, and Leon was like, "I'm outside your building." Dexter's like, "I'm not home." He said, "Well, I'll wait." And he said, Dexter was like, "I ain't coming back." I ain't coming back. He said, "I prioritize my anonymity, and I I prioritize my anonymity." Okay. So I left my apartment and my job. So he basically saying that he not the dark passenger. Well, he the dark passenger, but the real dark passenger, he ain't the dark passenger that offs Uber drivers anymore. Okay, so he ain't bringing no heads to Leon. Okay, because he don't do that no more. He don't do that. So we don't know what he does. Okay. Well, we know what he does, but Leon don't know what he does. So, but I kind of figured like, okay, so if he is not going to be a serial killer, um, does he need to exit the group and just say that you was never in that group, and you don't know nothing about that group anymore? Or does he get something else, serial killerish? That's all I can think of, serial killerish. Okay. So, but Leon said, "I expect nothing less from the dark passenger." He said, I need you to meet me at my place ASAP." So, so we'll see. This is only the sixth episode. Is it the sixth episode? Is it the sixth episode? Is it the sixth episode? So it's only the sixth episode. I don't know how many episodes they got. Maybe 10. I hope not. I hope it's more than that. Cause I I kind of liked it. I don't want it to go away. Can we get like 20 episodes? At least 15. Let's do it 15. Let's try that. But anyway, we'll see. Um, yeah. So we don't know what's the plan now. So I guess Dexter gotta tell him what the plan is. So Elsa needs a babysitter. For because she working a double, and so Harrison tell her that he can babysit Dante tonight. Cool. So Detective Claudette and Oliva, I think it's Oliva, is questioning the guy who Lady Vengeance picked up, and they swarmed in before he could get live put in his eyeballs and tortured. Okay, and so he mentions that she was his first kill in New York, and so they was like, "What? First kill in New York?" And so Detective Oliva said, "Well, did she mention chopping chopping your body up in pieces?" And so the man was looking like, was that gonna happen to me?" Poor baby. He was like, was that gonna happen to me? I mean, he looked like he was about to cry. Okay. So then they finished talking to him. And Lord. Oh. Angel Batista show up, wants to talk to the detectives with his old man sweater on, okay? His fedora and his old man sweater on, okay? So he telling them that, he thinks that the Bay Harbor butcher, um, the Bay Harbor butcher is Dexter Morgan. And but he was like, well, so you think Dexter Morgan killed the perp? And he said not necessarily. He said because he was in a coma at that time. Okay, so but his son Harrison Morgan could have possibly killed Ryan Foster, and so he cuts his body up into 9 pieces like Dexter taught him to. And so he said we just need to go to talk to Lady Vengeance. And he said he said all I gotta do is show a picture of Dexter and see if she recognizes him. And so they said, we're going to see her tomorrow and question her, and so you are welcome to tag along. Fine. Anyway, so Rapunzel gets to the little meeting, and so then Gemini is in the corner, and then Dexter comes. And so they were like, well, you know what happened to Mia? And so Gemini was like, I don't trust Mia to keep her mouth shut. She said, offering up my name is any ticket to immunity. He said, because I'm #1 on the FBI's list. And so Leon was like, listen, because Leon said, meet me at my house. ASAP, he told Dexter, so that this is his meeting. And so Leon said, well, if Mia talks, I'm connected with FBI and CIA and whatever else police division. He said, so if she talks, I will be the first to know. And so Dexter was like, well, listen, Prater said he it's a safe space. So, I don't think Mia's going to talk, and, and this is a safe space. So then Leon was like, well, I thought, it needed a little extra money. So, he opened the case. And so it was like three packages um, of money, um, three three stacks of money, and Rapunzel grabbed his first and put it in his little fanny pack. Okay, but then Gemini and what's that man name, and Dexter. However, they was like, no, Lowell is MIA, so he don't even have a stack for Lowell because he MIA. Now I would have had a stack for Lowell just in case he show up, okay, but he didn't. He didn't have a stack for Lowell. He just had a stack for them 3 folk that was in there. Don't think, okay. He ain't had none for Lowell because he MIA, and he obviously ain't gonna show up because obviously he ain't got no stack of money. And if he show up, he still ain't got no stack of money. Anyway, um, so after the meeting, Dexter is following Gemini. And so he follows him to a library. It seems like a library, coffee shop, some kind of stuff. And so, where he leaves a note in the serial killer book, at where his little chapter is, the Gemini, and he left a note in the book. And so then Dexter walks behind him, and so he sees the note, and he just puts it in his suit. And also, he looked to see if he was the Bay Harbor Butcher. If Bay Harbor Butcher is in the book too, and it is, but it has a lovely picture of James Dokes.
Surprise, motherfucker.
Yeah, James Dokes. Okay, but it don't have Dexter's picture in there, so I don't know how Dexter feel about that. But he also wants to keep his anonymity. I can't pronounce that word. Anonymity? I don't know. Anonymity. Anyway. He want to keep it secret. He want to keep his secret, okay? Okay, so Harrison is babysitting Dante. And Dante he had an asthma attack because he was playing basketball and he had asthma attack. So he gave him his nebulizer treatment. And so apparently the landlord has mold in his closet. Okay. So Elsa is not paying rent until he gets the mold out the closet. And so yeah, and so then the landlord come down and says, where's Elsa? He was like, she's not here and everything like that. And he was like, well, I'm coming to collect some rent. And so he tells him, well, you need to fix the mold in the closet, and she'll pay the rent. And so he just blows him off, and he said, well, she sounds like a bad mama. She don't pay rent, and she don't take care of her kid. And so Harrison got real mad and envision him stabbing him with this fork in his hand in his eyeball. Okay. He envisioned it. He ain't did it, but he envisioned it. Okay, he snapped and put the fork in his eyeball, and then he came to and he dropped the fork, and so he was like, "Well, you tell her, I need my money, whatever." And so, fat man landlord leave. So Dexter is at the house, and then after he followed Gemini and put the note in his pocket, and so he go back to the house, and so um and then he opens the door, and then he hears Sam coming with the ice, and he had like 4 big bags of ice, and he trying to get up the steps, and drops the ice, and so Dexter goes and helps him with his ice. Meanwhile, he don't realize that he left his door open. So apparently, somebody was following him, and that would be Gemini. But Blessing, when they take the ice upstairs, Blessing screaming and hollering at him, at the boy, talking about we don't have enough room in the freezer for 4 bags of ice. So what we gonna do? And so Dexter was like, I'll take 2 bags of ice downstairs. So he takes it downstairs, where Gemini is lurking, in his apartment. So Gemini was like, why did you take my note? Why did you take my note? So he was like, I'm a fan. I'm starstruck. I'm a fan. Okay. And so he was like, you want some gin and tonic? And so he make a gin and tonic. He laced one with the tranquilizer stuff, and then so and so Dexter was like, well, who was the note for? And he said, for me. I didn't catch that. At the time, but I caught it at the end. And so, he said, yeah, who you leave that note for? For me. Okay. I caught that. Okay. I caught it at the end, but I ain't catch it at the beginning. So, then Dexter asked, why you killing Pears? He said, to die together is the ultimate bond. Okay. That's another gem. Okay. To die together is the ultimate bond. Okay. Okay. And so he was like, I'm #1 on the FBI's serial killer list. And then Dexter, in his mind talking about for now. Yeah, I know that's right. Then, so Dexter puts the 2 drinks on the table. And so he switches Dexter's drink for his drink. And so Dexter was like, okay, let me drink. And so he drinks his drink, and then he fall out. He fall out, okay? And so I was just like, so Dexter already knew. He already knew that, he was gonna play that game. So anyway, he tapes him up, and then he got his blood sample for his little his microscope microscope's plate. That's what it is, microscope plate. And he got his sample, and then he wake him up, and so and he was like, what you doing to me, Red? What you doing to me? And then all the ghosts got his knife. Knife to the heart, and yours to who blame? Yeah, knife to the heart. Yeah, it is. Knife to the heart, okay? So then Blessing knock on the door. So
Surprise, motherfucker.
yeah, he got to wrap him up. Now, mind you, it should be a whole lot of blood, but out this shower curtain, whatever we got going on. But I digress. Okay, he put him in the tub, Okay, and closed the curtain. And so Blessing came to apologize to him about yelling at him. And so he said his mama saved his life. He was like, when he was in Sierra Leone, um, as a child, he was in the military, and they would do anything and everything to these kids in the military. So she rescued him and brought him to America. And so he was like, so she saved my life. And so then Blessing was like, you got an Advil, and what's the name? Dexter was like, yeah, it's the medicine cabinet. And then he was like, wait a minute, wait, I get it. And so he was already in there. So he opened the cabinet, and so then he looked at the shower curtain, and one of the little hooks was undone. So he was like, I got to put this in there, and I was just like, oh god, oh Blessing, don't find that body in the back, but he didn't. And so then uh Dexter takes Gemini to meet Ronald Schmidt and Lowell. Okay. He did what he needed to do, and he took the body to Ronald Smith and Lowell. Okay, so Harrison and Dexter meet up for lunch. Harrison said it happened again. He was like, it happened. I had a vision of me killing the landlord, Elsa's landlord, like I killed Ryan. And so Dexter was, he was like, well, did you? And he said no. And Dexter exhaled like, Jesus. Okay. He was like, okay, we can work with this. We can work with this. He was like, so he was like, well, did you want to hurt him? He said, yeah. He said, well, he said you had an impulse, but, but you denied it. He said, so he said, you were a lot like your Aunt Deb. She said she has strong impulses of what's right and what's wrong. She said, but she had a hot temper. And I agree with that, because yeah, Deb did, he was spot on with Deb. She did have a strong will of what was right and what's wrong, but she did have a bad temper. Okay, so I agree with that totally. And so Dexter was like, you got to find your own path. And he said, and I'm here to help you. And I was just like, oh, oh, oh. Okay. So Dexter gets a call from Charlie. She said, Prater has a surprise for you. And she said, meet him at Pier 6 and bring your trophies and your tools. Dexter don't have no trophies, cause he don't he not the dark passenger. This part 2, okay. He dark passenger part 1. He not dark passenger 2.0. Okay, so he don't have no trophies. But he got some tools, but I don't know what kind of tools they trying to bring. Oh, well, he can bring that little straight razor thing. But he brought a backpack, so I don't know what was in the backpack. But anyway, so then Angel, Detective Angel, and Detective Staying Alive, Claudette, and Oliva go visit Lady Vengeance, but there's too late, because somebody killed her already. And the guard, apparently Charlie gave some money to the guard. Apparently he was losing a bet or whatever, and she just, put a big old stack of cash in the envelope at his table, and she ain't say nothing. But apparently that's what that stack of cash was, because she yeah, he he eliminated basically Lady Vengeance. Okay, so so they too late. You too late, boo. Okay. So y'all ain't gonna get nothing out of Lady Vengeance. Okay, so y'all gotta go back to square one. Okay. Y'all gotta figure out another path. Okay. So um Dexter gets to the pier. Fat Boy is at the pier too. And so they waiting on Gemini. Okay, they waiting on Gemini. So I was just like, okay. And so all of a sudden, Gemini show up. And so we all confused, like, what? Who? What? Didn't you get killed? Didn't you get killed? And so we all confused. But like I said, he did say that he left a note. And he said, well, who you leave a note for? He said, me. I was just like, oh, okay. So then, so Dexter was like, Gemini killers, twins, fuck me. And so he was like, now he got, he got to do the same thing to the other one as he did to the first one. So, hey, that was a great episode. Y'all tell me how y'all liked it, okay? And tell me if y'all if people still having family members in the living room, okay, during the week, okay. Anyway, give me a thumbs up, like and share and comment and subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.